Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Siren podcast. My guest today is the Devil Music Company. They are a rock band based out of different parts of the country. They play all kinds of different styles of music, punk rock, pop, different things. They're a really great band. I talked with the singer Marshall. We talked about all kinds of things, new albums, upcoming albums, all kinds of cool stuff. So let's just jump right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the Devil Music Company.
Take me home to where sun belongs, 'cause I can't be I can't be
Hey, man, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Hey, Bobby, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too, man. I've seen you guys a few times, but I've been listening to your music on like the streaming platforms, and it's just every song is better than the next. And I don't know what y'all are doing, but you're doing something good over there. I really dig it. You guys are killing it.
Hey, thanks, man. We've been working really hard and spending a lot of time and going out of our way to try to take it more seriously and put out better songs each time around. And for the last batch of songs, we built a studio actually in this room in my parents' house in Purvis, Mississippi. I live in Florida now, but we all flew from across the country, California, Nashville, and Florida, and we built a studio here, and it just took our time, and it really worked out, and we're excited to put out the rest of the songs and kind of start a new chapter, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna ask where you recorded it because the recording itself is really good. I don't know. Did you do them all in your house, or just maybe the most recent one, or?
Yeah, we all of the Devil music is produced and engineered and mixed by my dear friend Justin Kay. He's based in Los Angeles, and we've been making records together, he and I, since 2013. Started out, he lived in Nashville, so we did records there, and then California. And then for this most recent album we're working on, we made multiple trips and would build the studio new each time here in my childhood home, in my childhood bedroom in Purvis, Mississippi, and we call that the Haven. And so all these most recent songs were done here.
That's awesome. It's good when you get to record and have time to, think about what you're doing instead of being on the clock and stuff. So
yeah,
that's awesome. That's kind of the reason why I got into recording myself was because, you go to a recording, studio and they'd be like, all right, it's $50 an hour and you've paid for 2. So you got 2 hours and then you're done. And it never comes out exactly like you want it. So,
I can't do shit in 2 hours. So, we've never been able to, or never really had neither the ability or the talent to book a studio because we need time. Like, we got to be able to sit there and hate it for days and then eventually come back to it after spending some time outside fishing or riding four-wheelers or whatever it is, cooking out, and then come back to the song with a fresh head and an open heart and try again.
Yeah, that's always good. It's good to have that opportunity too. But I mean, it shows in the music. The music's great. Producing's great. All of it's great.
Thanks, man.
So where did the name Devil Music come from?
Well, growing up in the South, I I grew up in a really conservative, fundamentalist community, and I was homeschooled as well. And so music wasn't exactly allowed, really, in any shape or form. And so, growing up and becoming a teenager and being, exposed or secretly exposed to punk rock and hardcore music, uh, really inspired me, and I wanted to play that kind of music. By the time that I'd actually been able to exit homeschooling and spend a couple years at an actual like high school, uh, and started a really shitty punk band with my friends, all the music that we played, whether it was loud or not, was the thing we'd hear most often kind of from our community. What many people here in South Mississippi is, you boys play that devil music.
With that
And
accent, yes.
yeah, and I love that because something when it came time to start a new band in 2013 or 14, and I wanted to build something that was community oriented, that could really include anyone and everyone. I wanted to, for that project, to be representative of kind of the path and the journey me and my friends took, and the way that we wanted to, I guess, do our best to defy prejudice. And it's especially in the Deep South, we thought it would be really fun if we kind of tongue in cheek adopted the moniker that had always been levied against us as an insult.
Yeah.
We thought it would be nice to make the most beautiful music we could and call it the devil music.
Dude, that's a really good story behind the name. I like that. That's awesome. But
Thanks, man.
yeah, see, I grew up in the same kind of Southern Baptist type household, and I remember getting my friend let me borrow, like, I couldn't listen to uh, pretty much anything unless it was Christian based. I think.
Hmm.
And then I'm getting a poor connection. There we go. We're back. But I couldn't listen to anything unless it was Christian based. So I remember I got a Metallica album, the one with Enter Sandman on it. One of my friends let me borrow it, and
Yeah.
before I could even listen to it, my mom found it and took it, and I never got to listen to it. And even because I mean that was considered like devil music, especially Marilyn Manson and music like that. And
Oh
then
yeah.
um, there's a band called DC Talk, and I remember
Yeah.
they came out with Jesus Freak, and when that came out, it was a Christian song, but it was rock music, so they were like, "This is still devil music. It's not right." It was weird, but I feel you
Yeah.
growing up in a in a home where you only can listen to certain types of music, or it's considered devil music. Secular is what they would call it, I guess.
Yeah, and that honestly, I wouldn't trade it for anything because, I fell in love with punk rock because it was an escape. It was, first of all, it wasn't allowed, and the whole idea of being free to think or say or be anything or anyone was so scary to people. And so the fact that I grew up kind of surrounded by the absence of that kind of freedom, of thought or of expression, made experiencing that freedom through punk rock, I think, far more powerful, far more meaningful to me. So I think that I hate to think of where I would be or what I would be into if I didn't have that pressure to that kind of helped me understand what punk rock or hardcore music, what it was all really all about. And so I had that that juxtaposition growing up that made punk music make sense. And that is something I really appreciate actually about my upbringing is it was never about the sound or the lyrics. It was about the ideas themselves.
Yeah.
And which is why, like, if someone is like, what kind of music is the devil music? I mean, I want it. I don't care what it sounds like. The idea that I want to push, the ideas or the foundation of the band itself is joy and freedom. It's punk rock.
Yeah.
And whether we're doing pop sounding music or hip hop or spoken word or bluegrass music, whatever it is, the point is freedom to do anything or be anybody. And for me, that's the definition of punk rock.
Well, you heard it here, everybody. That's it. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I like the spoken word ones that you do. I don't want to call it the wrong name, but the one that's talking about, I don't even know, it might have been a guest you had on the track where talking about going to Mars, dying in the Martian dirt. That one,
Yeah.
it's refreshing to hear. It's not like a regular song that you hear, but it's got like a good, the lyrics and all that stuff are just spot on. It's really good to hear something different than your standard, four chords, chorus, verse thing. I liked it. It was cool.
Those songs are the ones that I look forward to most. I've always written and made those songs with one of my best friends. He's a poet now out in Seattle, Washington. His name's Alec Bateman. And he and I did our first spoken word song together in 2013 on an EP called Toil and Learn. And he and I did a song together then. A couple years later, we did another one on a devil music album called Stay Alive. And then a couple years later, we did it again on our album called Two. There was a song called Doomed. Mm-hmm. And then the most recent one that I think you're referring to was called Talk to Me, and it was on our Feeling You Can't Get Back album. And yeah, so that's Alec Daniel Bateman. He's my favorite poet on earth, and he has a heart of gold and an amazingly, in my opinion, powerful voice. And so those are the songs that mean the most to me that we actually get to do.
That's awesome. That's cool, man. So is it just you? Is it just you that does the writing, or is everybody in the band there when they write or during the recording process? How's all that work?
For the up until this most recent album that we're going to release in a few weeks, typically a devil music album will start out. I'll spend over the course of the year, I'll have some songs and voice memos that I write just whenever they show up in my brain. And then I'll take those songs to my friend Justin Kay. We'll go to Los Angeles and we'll sit in his apartment for 3 weeks and we'll build them out. And if we're lucky, some of our friends will be able to come track guitars or whatever we're doing on them. But sometimes it's really hard to schedule that because, we're so far away. And so that's always been the process. And then when after we make an album, however long it takes, we would reinvent the songs as the Devil Music Company to play them live. And we'd make them oftentimes the more rock versions or faster or whatever it is. Because the whole point of recording the songs was to just challenge ourselves and to try out new styles, try out new production techniques, basically just as an exercise in creativity, regardless of where they go. But something that was really meaningful for me for this most recent album is we actually got to do it for the first time ever here in Mississippi and in my childhood bedroom. So all the guys in the band were able to show up and play their instruments and lend their creativity and their talent and their weirdness, and it was awesome. So we got a lot of beautiful sounds. We got a lot of rhythm we wouldn't have had otherwise. And more than anything, a sense of community built in to these songs. So I hope that for the future, we can keep doing albums like this. It's more time consuming and it's pretty expensive to move everything out here, but we do it maybe just once every other year or something. I'll be able to pull it off.
Yeah. So what do you track in? Logic or Pro Tools? What do you?
Justin uses Pro Tools, and we've never had a crazy fancy setup, but we've got the mics we need, and he's got just a few handy preamps and a crap ton of plugins, and we just make it work.
Yeah, I've noticed your the piano sound is very, like, you can tell that it's y'all from the piano sound. I don't know if it's a stock or if it's something y'all put together, but the like the clean regular piano sound is very.
Dude, thanks. I love that you notice or hear that, because that piano sound is my grandfather baby band that he left to me after he passed away, and so that's the piano we use for all the songs we've recorded the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's you can tell that it's not that it's almost like the same. I guess it is the exact same piano in each one of the songs. Yeah, that's cool, man. So I have a question that's kind of and I've asked people this before, and I always get the same answer, and it's kind of like, well, I'll just ask the question first. So you play guitar left-handed.
Yeah.
Why did you start playing left-handed?
Just an accident. I was really I loved music. By the time I was about 13 or so, even though there were, music wasn't really allowed, and especially the things that I wanted, and it was lots of trouble and drama and a divider definitely in my family. My parents loved me, and I was really blessed and lucky. They were like, okay, the kid wants to play music, so we'll get him a guitar. And I'm one of 9 kids, and so
Wow.
I was the only kid in the family that is left-handed. And so they kind of said, well, he's left-handed, so don't we need to get him a left-handed guitar? So they went and found a little, starter Fender. You can go to any store and get a little starter Fender acoustic, and they happened to find one that was left-handed. And so that's how I learned what 4 or 5 chords I ever learned to play on a lefty. And when I eventually bought myself a permanent guitar, I got a lefty, and I can barely play it, and I definitely can't play right-handed. So a lefty, I will.
I think you froze up on me here. Yeah.
Let's see.
There we go.
Check.
Yeah, I've always wondered if it was a choice of someone to play left-handed, because to me, if you're left-handed and you play a right-handed guitar, your dominant hand's doing all the moving. So
yeah, right. It makes more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I guess that's just how it works. Sometimes.
I know it makes no sense. I don't know why. It's like my smart hand is the one doing the dumb moving. Just up and down, up and down. So, yeah, dude. If I could go back maybe I would learn to play right-handed just so I could play so many other people's guitars. But it's kind of fun that no one can play my guitar, and it freaks people out, and so I enjoy it. I carry it with me, and it's the guitar no one else can play except me, and I can't play anybody else's shit. So
That's good. You don't have the, hey man, can I play your guitar for a little bit? Let me play for a while. You're like, nah, it's left-handed. Sorry.
yeah, it doesn't work.
Not for you. Unless they want to try to be cool and be like, yeah, I can play left-handed. I don't even think
Some people give it a try. Some people can pull it off. Yeah, I play in open B tuning, so it's so because I have to cheat to get anywhere, and so anything that you play in open B tuning sounds great.
Yeah.
And so when I give it to someone else, if they just don't put their hand on the fretboard and just strum, it sounds good.
Yeah, I'll do that with my acoustic sometimes. I put it in. You're supposed to tune it DAG DAD, but I tune it DADD AD.
Yeah.
Dad. And you can go all over the place when you're tuned like that. Just as long as you're on the same row, the notes match up. It's fun to play.
Yeah.
That's like a Dashboard Confessional plays like that.
Yeah, I learned how to do open B from studying Tom DeLonge and how he could play all the Blink stuff and sing at the same time.
Yeah.
And I realized that some of those songs were in open tunings so that he couldn't mess up.
Wow,
and
I didn't know that.
That is genius because if I'm going to have to sing and play guitar, I have to be able to make mistakes and no one notice.
Wow, I didn't know he tuned like that. Does he do that in Angels and Airwaves, or it's Blink, I guess that he's?
Yeah, it's not on everything, but you'll hear it when recording for both Blink and Angels and Airwaves. A lot of those big, just wide open diamonds. I mean, that's open tuning. Just because you get so much more. You get so much more sustain out of if every string can just be played wide open.
Yeah.
Sound even without any hand on the fretboard, it just is huge.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. My goal with this whole podcast is to have Tom DeLonge on one day. It probably won't happen, but that's my goal, is to get him on. If I can get him on, dude, I can die happy.
Dude, I would die happy for you, man. That's he's my inspiration probably for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about his new? I don't know what to call it. His deep dive. Well, it's not new. He's been doing it, but now that he's deep diving into aliens and things like that.
Well, I'm a super fan, so I make. The past several years, I've been making yearly pilgrimages to the Stars flagship store in Encinitas, and man, I've been buying since he put out their first book. I've bought every one. I'm a freak for To the Stars and for the Academy and for everything that he's been doing with UFOs and film and all of it. I'm looking at books, huge pile of books somewhere, because when I'm done with them, here is Secret Machines, God's book 2 in the Secret Machines series. Let's see, we've got should have my Secret Machines book 1. A Planet of Blood and Ice, Tom DeLonge novel, amazing. I'm a freak for Tom DeLonge, dude. I'm a supporter of the guy in my life because I think we need people like him to push the envelope and inspire people to ask questions and look beyond their horizons, even if it looks crazy.
Yeah. Well, they had he went on the Joe Rogan show, and everybody was like, This guy's crazy. And then
Yeah.
he did say some things that were kind of like, well, how do we? There's really no. He kept saying, I can't tell you that. That's classified.
Yeah.
But then they released those UFO photos
Yeah.
or videos or whatever the other day, and he was like, "Told you, bitches! Like, I've been
Yeah.
telling y'all about
And
this."
you know, Air Force and the Navy and the Pentagon all made separate statements acknowledging the legitimacy of those releases and of that footage, and stating that UFOs are real and we don't understand them. And then even on the Joe Rogan podcast, other experts would come on and he would talk to them, and he would talk about, holy crap, this really is real. And it's just not enough people go back and remember, wait, who was telling us about this 4 years ago? Tom DeLonge. Like, who is the reason that, you can have, all these new guests on a big show like Joe Rogan to talk about UFOs. And, it's because that Tom kind of took the bullet.
Yeah.
And started that conversation, which is what he claimed he was doing in the first place, which is, I made a deal with the government to start these conversations and to be the first person to kind of put ideas about this stuff out there in the world to engage with people. And so, of course, he's going to be the one that takes all the shit for it.
Yeah. They laid into him, like, about that. I had people would text me, be like, dude, did you see Tom DeLonge on Joe Rogan? And I was like, I didn't think it was that crazy. I mean,
no.
But.
Well, eventually I just hope that, look, Tom's not the best at PR. He's kind of his own worst enemy sometimes. But at the end of the day, it honestly takes being a crazy person to change the world.
Yeah.
Whether you're Tom DeLonge or Elon Musk or Nikola Tesla or Albert Einstein, who was a psychopath.
Yeah.
He changed the world forever. People like Musk or DeLonge, I mean, they're not so crazy compared to some of the brilliant minds of the past,
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the way it goes with most things, because people will have a way of thinking, or the way they say science is or the world is, and then someone comes up and says, maybe it's this way, and you immediately get like this guy is an idiot and he's crazy. A lot of, like, I mean, I guess Galileo did the same thing. They were like, we're putting you in jail because you think differently. And then they're, same thing with Tesla was, they were killing elephants or so. I don't know the whole story, but it was essentially like Edison tricked his way into getting AC instead of DC in the house. I don't remember, but it was, people hate that. New ideas.
Yes. They're scary.
Yeah. Change it. People don't like change, I guess. Did you ever see Tom when you were out there at his shops?
No, I have been to the shop when he was there, but I'm not gonna be nosy or wander around. But I definitely made great efforts to see Tom as many times as I could this past year during the I went and saw it in Atlanta, and then I went and saw it in Los Angeles for the last night of the tour. It was really awesome.
For Angels and Airwaves? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
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 I saw them when they first came out, when they had the original drummer, like the first drummer, I guess the first drummer.
Adam fucking Willard.
Yeah. That dude was, he was pretty good. But they played at Warped Tour. This had to have been 2007 or 8. It was right around when they came out. Yeah, it was cool just to see them. I kind of just, sat there and watched them. And then I got to see Blink. They broke up and then came back. They got back together, and I got to see them in Birmingham with Mark, Tom, and Travis. Before they broke up again, or before Tom left Blink. I was glad I got to see them, because I saw them with with Skiba, and it was good. It wasn't
Yeah,
wasn't the same though. So
yeah. Matt Skiba can play the shit out of guitar.
yeah, their new album's pretty good. The I haven't listened to 9 yet, but California was pretty good to me. I liked it.
Hey, listen to 9 too. There's some super super legit Blink jams on that record.
Are there? I'll have to
Oh
check
yeah,
it
I
out.
love it.
Have you? Is that the one with Dark Side? Is Dark Side on 9?
Yeah.
I like Dark Side. That's the one I've listened to.
It's a good song. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like really good writing.
Yeah, yeah. He's a see the California had 2 parts. They came out with a deluxe version. The first album, like the first half or whatever, was like Blink, standard regular Blink. The second one was like almost like a completely different band. You could tell it had more of Skiba writing.
It was a lot darker.
Yeah, there's a song called "Last Train Home" on that part.
Solid.
I love that song. It's awesome. So Tom DeLonge fan. I'm a Tom DeLonge fan. Already like you 10 times more, just for that. There you
Hell
go.
yeah, dude.
So hopefully, I've been emailing him. Well, I emailed him once. I don't want to bug him, but I was like, hey man, come on my show. He didn't.
Yeah.
He never responded, but maybe one day. So you went to law school, is that right? Or,
Yeah.
And how was that? I actually almost went to law school. I took the LSAT and did all that, and then
Yeah.
changed my mind at the last moment. But
You're not wrong.
yeah, that's what I started. I followed some lawyers around, and I could just see in their faces that some of them weren't very happy with it. They were just stressed out, not having a good
Yeah.
time.
It's a hard job to find joy in sometimes. For sure.
Yeah.
You got to have something you really love. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I worked as a paralegal for a guy in Hattiesburg. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't. It's a lot of documenting and filing papers, and it's not like
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
And if you misspell something or put a period at the wrong spot, I mean, you could literally lose a case. It's very stressful.
Yeah.
So,
I feel that, dude. I feel that hard.
wow.
I definitely don't encourage anyone to go to law school unless it's something they really are passionate about.
Yeah.
But then again, you shouldn't really do anything unless you're really passionate about it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's not like going to get an engineering degree where you can build a bike or work at a computer place or work on whatever. It's like it's law. Like it's fun. Like, I like the idea of law.
yeah.
How it works, what the purpose of it is, but I think it's gotten so I guess bureaucratic, litigious, whatever they want to call it, that it's almost sucked the life out of law. It turns into more of a game,
Yeah.
I guess, than trying to follow through.
You're
with
not
the law.
wrong. It's meant to be a way to help people,
Yeah.
but often it is not wielded as such.
Yes. That's how it. Well, have you ever watch Hot Coffee? I think it was called Hot Coffee. Maybe it might have been called something else, but it's the story behind the McDonald's hot coffee case, and
Oh, okay.
and it explains, like, if you haven't seen it, essentially the lady, it was an old lady. She was in the she wasn't driving. McDonald's was keeping the coffee at well over boiling point.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculously hot. They'd had thousands of like people burned in serious, like the lady had 3rd or 2nd degree burns in her lap, older lady, and she just wanted them to pay for her medical bills, and they wouldn't. They said no.
Yeah.
Essentially what it turned into was tort reform, which reduced the amount of money that you can win from suing companies down
Yeah.
to, it's like $500,000 or something crazy. And essentially, a lot of the lawyers that were in that business had to get out because they couldn't make any money anymore. And all kind of stemmed from that McDonald's case, which is, it turns into a conspiracy theory. People using that case to make people think that you can sue for anything, because people think that you can just go and sue somebody for anything and win.
Yeah.
It's not really how it works, but.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if there's anything I've done my best to avoid the heck out of during my law career is anything personal injury or tort related. I don't want it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to touch it, look at it. Keep me far away from that.
I liked it. To me, that was the fun stuff. If you could make money at it, but you couldn't.
Yeah.
What was your focus, I guess, or your favorite?
So I ended up pursuing a concentration in air and space law.
Yeah.
And ended up really falling in love with it. So that's where my, at least academic expertise is. And then in practice, I've been predominantly a contracts and negotiations lawyer. But the space and aviation stuff is what I guess try to spend the most time on, if not academically, then in going to conferences and presenting papers and trying to publish and all that kind of thing. I love the policy side of it. I want to try to help influence good space law and policy in the future if I can. So
what exactly do you do? So you passed the bar and all that stuff for Mississippi or where? Florida, I guess?
No, I didn't want to do the bar in Mississippi. It's, the bar exam's really expensive, and prepping for the bar exam's very expensive and extremely time consuming. It's a full-time job for 8 months if you really want to do it right. To take the Kaplan course and then go and take the exam. By the time I was done with the prep and the exam, I'd spent about $3,000. And so I said, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it once. And so I looked up which states had the most reciprocity, and I chose Colorado, because if you pass the bar in Colorado, then you can apply for reciprocity in something like 27 other states. And I thought, if I'm going to do this once, then I would want it to count for as much as it can. And so if I have to do state law, I'm covered for, 55% of the country. But thankfully, I don't have to worry about that right now. I currently practice exclusively federal law. I work as an attorney for NASA at Kennedy Space Center down in Cape Canaveral, Florida. So I work at the chief counsel's office there. So I don't have to worry about state law. We just deal with federal regulations for the most part, procurement law, contracts, negotiations, that sort of thing.
So what do you like contracting? Just making sure it's safe? I have no idea what you actually do.
Yeah. Well, the government can't do anything unless it pays someone to do it. And so if NASA is going to launch a satellite to perform science, scientific investigation, NASA has to pay someone, a private contractor, to build the satellite. And then to launch it, NASA has to find an appropriate launch service provider, someone like SpaceX or Blue Origin, to launch the satellite. And so a lot of the work that Kennedy Space Center does is, and therefore the attorneys that work there, is we help with um, the procurement of services for NASA. So we work with a lot of spacecraft and space launch providers in the private sector, like Lockheed Martin and SpaceX and Blue Origin and companies like that, to provide NASA the services that it needs to accomplish its mission, which is the public good, space science, earth science, um, all those different kinds of the missions that NASA is um, I guess, funded to accomplish.
Well, that's cool. That's some crazy stuff, man. That's awesome that you're doing that though. In the heat of it.
I'm trying to stay in the heat of it, man. There's some good stuff going on down there, and I'm trying to work my way in as deep as I can. As I want to be close to the rockets if I can help it.
Yeah.
And so that's where I try to stay. But sometimes, it's not all rockets and spaceships. Sometimes it's labor and employment, and sometimes it's criminal law on the center, and all kinds of stuff comes through the door. But at the end of the day, it's if I'm trying to stay close to the rockets.
Yeah. Have you seen anything suspicious down there?
No, not down there. All the suspicious things I've ever seen are right here in South Mississippi.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm sure if you had seen something suspicious, you wouldn't be allowed to talk about it.
I don't know, man. I'm all about that open. What do you call it? I'm all about disclosure.
Yeah, disclosure.
Yeah, which is probably why they won't tell me.
Oh yeah, they know. They know. Well, maybe they'll choose you to be one of the front men, like Tom DeLonge, and you'll get to.
Hey, if that's a job they need someone to fill, I will volunteer myself avidly.
Man, I have when I lived in Laurel, I lived in like kind of behind Roses. I guess you're familiar with Laurel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is my alien story. I've waited my entire life to see a UFO and all that stuff. I've never seen one. And we were sitting on the front porch of our house, and then I saw all these helicopters started flying around, like 4 or 5 helicopters, which was kind of weird. And then all of a sudden, these little orbs of light start coming up, in the sky, and there's like a bunch of them and like hundreds of them. So I get my phone out and I'm like running up the street, and this orb comes and lands in the yard of one of my neighbor's house. And I have the video. If I can find it, I'll play it sometime on here. But
you better.
But so like I'm running up to it and I'm sitting there going like, it's aliens, man. And like the neighbors are looking at me. They're all out on the porch looking at it. And I go up to it, and it was like those little lanterns for a Relay for Life. It made me look like a complete ass in front of the whole street. Because, I thought it was aliens. It was a low point. It was a low point for me. But that was the closest alien story for me. All my friends have seen them, but...
Yeah, crazy stuff's out there, and we don't understand it, and that's okay. But there's some crazy stuff out there for sure.
Yeah. Let's just hope it's not menacing. Maybe just nice people out there.
Maybe just nice. Honestly, I hope that if they're out there, that they're more worried about us than we are about them. Because we can be pretty menacing.
Well, yeah, there you go. I like that better than them coming to... Well, I just prefer if they were just like us. They just happen to stumble upon some kind of light speed travel that we haven't yet.
Yeah.
That's what
Portal guns.
Portal guns. There you go. So I was going to ask you earlier, but how are your parents now about your music? They still call it devil music?
Man,
They supportive?
yeah, dude. My parents have been, I like to tell people without explaining too much, but punk rock set me free, and honestly, I think it really helped start the path of setting my family free in a lot of ways. My youngest siblings now, they listen to all kinds of music. They experience all different kinds of art. They're expressive in all different kinds of ways. They read the books that they're interested in. They watch movies that they're interested in. They're able to express themselves and think a lot more freely. And my family's been so supportive of the music. They've come to shows for years. They listen to the music, and they let us use their house to make more of it. So
Yeah.
We've had a really great experience over the past few years, and at this point in the story, they understand the reason why we do it, and they're supportive, and it's really cool.
That's awesome. So, how many actual albums do you have right now?
How many have we made?
Yeah, like, well, to me, it's confusing for me because when I go in like to Apple Music or whatever, some of them are singles. Like, how many like that you would call like complete works do you have out right now?
Yeah. All right, let me think. If I start from the beginning, in 2013, we put out an EP called Toil and Learn. That is no longer available. It just expired on the internet. In 2014, we did a Devil Music self-titled LP, the first one. It is no longer on the internet either. It expired. In 2015, we did the Stay Alive EP. That's still out there. In 2016, we did the Devil Music full-length LP2. That's still out there. In 2017, we did the Find Yourself EP. It's still out there. 2018 was the A Feeling You Can't Get Back full-length album. It's out there. And then in a few weeks, we're going to release another full-length record called Safety Belt.
50 Bell. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Do you have a set date for that, or just?
Let's see. The last single for that album comes out on the 19th of May, so next week. It's called Head Over Heels, and then the album should come out just maybe several weeks after that. So I'm hoping for the middle of June.
That's awesome. I'm gonna say for everybody listening, my favorite songs that you got, and I'm gonna tell you they are Chances, Three Sheets to the Wind, and Sailboat Bed.
Come on. Sick, dude.
And Fire. I can go. There's more, but those are the ones you need to check out. And also, what's your favorite song that you've written so far?
I think that if I died and there was one song I would want people to hear, it would have to be a song called Doomed from 2016, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's a spoken word track with Alec Bateman. And then my favorite song that's just like something I'm really proud of is called Luck's All Gone, and it came out a few months ago.
Okay. So, I don't want to call it the wrong name.
That's okay.
The Chariot song where you're singing went to the
Swing
river.
Low.
Swing Low. That's another good
Yeah.
one. Yeah. So
Hey, thanks. My dad likes that one the best.
so check out all those songs. They're great. Are y'all ever gonna do a music video, or have I just missed it, or is that something in the works?
We tried a couple videos 5 years ago,
Yeah.
but music videos are just, honestly, I don't want to do them unless we can do them really well and in a way that's meaningful.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do videos that, at least for me, are a meaningful addition to the music and not just an excuse to steal your eyes on YouTube, you know?
Yeah.
So unless we can make a video that makes the song better, more meaningful, whatever, I don't really want to do it.
Yeah. I understand that. Have you ever talked? Do you know Forrest Proctor? You ever met him?
I don't think so.
He runs Epic Film. It's spelled Epoch. Epic Film. He makes really good films. So if I would look into that, he does. He's like a professional cinematographer and does like I don't know, baseball games and all kinds of stuff. But he also does he does a lot of he did Chad Knight's music videos and stuff. They come out really good. He makes really good stuff. It's not just some. He's a musician himself. So if I would check him out if you're interested in looking at that. So
cool, man. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's really good.
For sure.
So you have the upcoming album. It's called Safety Belt. Is that the one with the DeLorean on the front?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the DeLorean album.
That's awesome. Look, here's are you a Back to the Future fan or just a DeLorean guy fan?
I love the Back to the Future movies. I certainly do. I think, but I really love the concept of the DeLorean time machine, just as kind of a example or a representation of the desire to go back and try to make things right. But the whole point is that it's never going to be what you expected. It's never going to turn out the way you hope because it's already done.
Yeah.
And so I love everything associated, I guess, thematically with the DeLorean time machine. Not only adventure, not only, the fun and the whimsy of it, but also, I guess, the brokenness of what it means to drive a DeLorean time machine.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of a similar theme to the fact that what's already happened, it's something you can't get back. And so this is kind of a continuation of that same theme.
Okay. They were originally going to make that a refrigerator.
Yeah.
In the back of a truck, and they decided against it. That's really good. But look, here's what I was saying about Back to the Future. So, when I was little, I watched the Johnny B. Good part in that movie, and I've always wanted that guitar. So my wife, for my wedding, when we got married, it's not the exact one. He had a 345, but this is the closest I could get to the Back to the Future guitar. She got me a Memphis custom.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I like to show it off when I can.
Good wife.
Yeah, I didn't know she was going to get it. I was just on the wedding day. My friend walks in. He's like, "Here you go," and I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?" So that's my Back to the Future thing.
That's rad, dude.
Yeah, I like
Rock
it.
and roll.
I'm kind of scared to play it sometimes, but it's cool.
I feel that.
So when y'all going to get back to playing shows again? I guess they got to tell you when you can get back, I guess. Or do y'all play?
Yeah, pretty much. Right now, it's just record things for Instagram. But man, all I want is to play a little rock and roll show again with a few of my friends.
Yeah.
And I look forward to being able to do that. As soon as we can put this record out, we're gonna host a album release show. Pretty much just as soon as a venue is comfortable enough to let that happen.
Yeah. You gonna do that here in Hattiesburg or in Florida?
Yeah, we
Los Angeles?
probably do it in Hattiesburg, and then I'm gonna try to do a few acoustic um, little gigs as well in some of the cities where I have close friends, like Nashville and Los Angeles, and try to do that over the summer. Um, but still kind of waiting right now. Nobody's playing shows anywhere,
Yeah.
which is really sad.
Just those online things, which I think is pretty cool.
Good work.
I caught y'all's. I couldn't imagine though, uh, what it's like to play a show with like I guess there's like two or three guys just standing in front of you with a camera filming you.
Dude, I love it, man. The more like playing in big rooms with no one in them is the most fun because there's no pressure. It's just a big room where you can stretch out and play. I like if I could, I would love to play in empty arenas or an empty stadium. Like it's so calming to me.
So just set up
No
and like
one's there.
the Superdome at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly, that's a dream, dude.
Maybe you can make that happen one day.
Hey, look, nothing's impossible, I guess.
Nothing is impossible. Well, I've gone through most of my questions. Is there anything you wanted to maybe talk about or tell the audience or plug that you're doing? Anything outside
Dude, you have a rad podcast. You've got a great setup, and you're an excellent host.
Thanks, man.
And I appreciate you having me on to talk to me about this stuff. Yeah, you need to keep doing this, dude. You're great at it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I've been wanting to do a podcast for I don't know 5 or so years, and I've always just been too. I guess I don't want to say scared. Just I was always giving myself a reason not to do it. I guess it's not going to be good, or I need this piece of equipment first, or I need to do this first. And then once the virus hit, I was just like, well, it might be a good time to do it. And I'm not getting any younger. So yeah. I don't want to start when I'm 50. But yeah, I appreciate that. I'm pushing along, trying to put out at least a show a week. Right now I'm doing two a week, sometimes 3. So
sick, dude. Keep it up.
Yeah. So all of your music is on all the streaming platforms except for your first one, which maybe might be out another time.
There's stuff out there. Yeah. The records that we still play and that we still are really attached to, they're all out there. Spotify is kind of our main headquarters. Apple Music is great too. Most of it's on YouTube, and then our other, I guess, headquarters you might call it is this streaming service called Jamindo that have been really good to us. They're out in Europe, but Spotify is kind of where it's most easily accessible.
Yeah. Spotify. I use Apple Music just because I don't know, I understand it easier, but I guess they're all the same thing at the end of the day. So everybody go check out the Devil Music Company new album, Safety Belts, coming out hopefully in June-ish.
Yeah.
And there's some videos you have on YouTube, right? Something.
Yeah, if you just go to the Devil Music Co. Our channel, then a lot of our songs are there, and at least all the most recent stuff is there.
Awesome. So yeah, check out Doomed, which is your favorite song, his favorite song, and what was the other one you said?
And another one that's my favorite is probably Luck's All Gone.
Luck's All Gone. And then also Chances, Fire, 3 Sheets to the Wind, Sailboat Bed, and there's probably another one. They're all good. Go check them all out.
Yeah, I love that you love those.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Those are good. It's the back and forth between the falsetto and it almost, sometimes when I describe music, I'll describe it in a weird way, but it feels kind of like the song starts spinning when you're talking about spinning around, kind of the way you do it. So that's kind of why I like it. Spin around. I feel like the song's spinning, and uh, I feel, sometimes when I start getting into it, and I feel like I'm just fanboying out or whatever. But the my favorite line is when you said, the last few times that I sang, I was drinking, and honestly, I couldn't tell the floor from the ceiling. That was sick. That hit.
Thanks, man. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. So yeah, I won't keep you all night. I really appreciate you coming on. If you ever want to come back on, if y'all release the CD, want to come back on and talk about it, bring the whole band on, whatever you want to do. If you want to come on and talk about aliens and UFOs or conspiracy theories,
Always.
One day I'm going to do one of those podcasts. Right now I'm doing music, but I really hope to do anybody that wants to come on. And
Yeah.
So, so if you ever want to come back on anytime, just let me know. It was awesome. It's great talking to you, man.
Hey, thanks, Bobby. I appreciate you, and I look forward to sharing the podcast.
Oh, awesome, man. I appreciate it. Stay safe, and I'll talk with you soon, man.
Hey, many blessings, dude.
All right.
Catch you later.
All right, man. See ya.